Today is the first day of the week, Sunday, the 14th of April in the year of our Most High Elohim 2019, with the time now standing at precisely a minute past the top of the hour here. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, because wherever you are across the entire 24 time zones of the world, you are receiving and listening to this very live broadcast. You can listen to Radio Biafra on any of our FM relay stations in Biafra land if you're fortunate enough to live close by. You can also get us on our Radio Biafra app, which is on Android store. You can also receive Radio Biafra on satellite. Like every major broadcaster, we are on satellite. Radio Biafra is also on www.radiobiafra.co. That is our main platform. That is where we have always been, and that is where we will continue to be. We welcome you wherever you are, because this is your radio station where the news is not only read but interpreted to the understanding of those who may be intellectually or academically challenged. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the very special grace of the Most High Elohim, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra, I welcome you, and I will also ask you to welcome all the people. There are those who are seeking to join us in this broadcast, and also here we enlighten. If you don't have your pen and paper, you have a lot to miss. And as always, because this is also a tutorial, this is a lecture, those in Asorok are welcome to listen. Also, those that claim they occupy the corridors of the legal profession in the damnable zoological republic, those who do not understand the law, those who do not understand the law, all of them are welcome to listen to us this very evening, because here we will educate the Nigerian judges. Here we will tutor those who are legal practitioners. Here we will tell them what they do not know about themselves and about the laws that they have made for themselves. But before we continue, we must call upon the Most High, Elohim, Adonai, El Shaddai, the creator and the giver of life, because this is what we do. We must worship Chukwokika Biama. We must praise him. We must adore him, because he is the one that ordained this very effort that we are making to restore his kingdom upon the face of the earth. That there is nothing any mortal flesh can do. They will try, but they will always fail. Any effort, any attempt to denigrate, any attempt to subvert the will of the Most High will only lift us up. There is nothing our enemies can do, I can assure you. We are here to restore Biafra in truth and in every honesty, because we are pure, whiter than white and whiter than snow. We stand on that very proclamation until this very effort is crowned with the glory that it deserves. For we are the children of light. We speak and we propagate the truth. And that truth is what has been setting us free. This evening we are going to pray to commit our proceedings into the loving arms of Elohim, to guide and to sustain us, because we are nothing without him. Only him made Biafra. Only him determined that we should come, because there is no other. And now that we're here, after this very phase in our history, no other people will be like us will ever come. It will only be us. Only this very generation of IPOB. The very best of the very best. The salt of the earth itself. Only us can restore Biafra. There is no other person, no other group, no other human being has the mandate to restore Biafra because it is divine. That is why anything we say comes to us. And you open such on air. That is why the zoo is in turmoil. Because I said with the truth, they will be destroyed. Those that doubted us before are now turning around to see it. Because our mission is ordained by heaven itself. I do not claim to be a prophet. It is what I speak that displays it. The words I utter on this hallowed platform, anytime I sit down on this chair, behind this microphone, anything I say comes to pass. Because I'm under divine instruction from heaven itself and not man. It's not something you claim. It's something that happens. Anything we say comes to pass. There is nothing enemies can do. We must pray. Because the zoo will fall to pieces. It will disintegrate. All the deals they made in the dead of the night to try to subvert the will of the Almighty Creator that Biafra must be restored will be laid bare. They will destroy themselves, I assure you. No amount of deal can save them. Nothing whatsoever. Anybody who stands against Biafra will fall. We must pray. We must bow down our heads wherever we are. I pray, oh, as I do always, from the Psalm of David. When I was in detention, when I was in prison, this is the prayer that I used to pray all the time. But this evening I will pray it. Because our enemies tried some few days ago and they failed spectacularly as always. And they will always fail. Because I never asked myself to come. Chukwokika Biama asked me to come. I never wanted to do this very work. I never wanted to. But Elohim said I must do it. That is why I'm here. And we must pray. The very ancient of the ancient. The oldest people to walk the face of this very earth. But for the benefit of the listening audience all over the world, I will pray in English. O Elohim, we give thee praise and adoration. We present Biafra before thee. We ask that you may sanctify IPOB, that this very work that only thee has decreed must be done, that your children may be set free, that we will be worthy to carry it out to its logical conclusion. Therefore, Chukwokika Biama, how are they that have increased that trouble your children? How many of them that rise up against us? There are many that say of us that they don't help for us in God. But they are lying, because you are our rock and our shield. Only the Elohim Bunchenki Gwenkonya Baranyo Krikiri. You are the lifter of our spirit and our head. You are our glory. We cried unto thee the same way that I cry unto thee every blessed day, and you heard our cries from your holy hill. Don't chase again a league when Nankabin, so you won't room at Berry, and yet Berry Nankabred and Gozi. We walk Gogi, where's a head better? Obonaka can you not Chineke Nanki? Unto thy hands have we committed our spirit. Every day we call upon thee. We go to bed and we rise. Some do not rise, but those of us who are lucky to be alive in the land of the living, those of us in IPOB, must always adore thee in truth and in every honesty, because we do not worship idol. And I may say, and I may say, anything that is fashioned by hand, I cannot bow before. Only the Elohim. is worthy of praise and adoration. Therefore, we will not be afraid. As they rise, they must fall. As they rise against IPOB, they will fall. As they rise against Biafra, they will fall. There will be confusion and shame amongst them. Those that set themselves against the children of the Most High. Arise, O Elohim, to save your children. Save Biafra. Save IPOB, because you are our creator. For thou hast destroyed the handiwork of the enemy. You have stricken them down. They thought they were setting a trap for us, but into that trap have they stepped onto. You have struck them down. You have knocked their teeth from their mouths because they are ungodly. Those of them in the zoo are ungodly. Evil people, that is why there is darkness everywhere. Nothing they do ever works. You will deliver your children. No matter how we have offended thee, you will forgive us our trespasses, and you will lead us into your light and everlasting grace. Because salvation is yours and yours alone. And unto thee do we offer every adoration and every praise. And your blessing will be upon IPOB. For as long as man lives on this very earth, as long as a child is born of Biafran descent, they will remember the sacrifice of this very age. The same way Israel remembers the exodus from Egypt, so shall it be remembered forever and ever. Because you're Elohim, only thee is worthy. Accept our humble prayers this evening, that your name may be adored by your children all over the world, those who are listening, and those who are infirmed and not able to. Let every adoration belong unto thee. Chineke nna nke bi n'ime igwe. Ugbu a ma ruo mgbe niile ebighị ebi ka anyị na-arịọ gị. Ise. We must proceed very hastily to deal with the issues of tonight because they are very compelling. Those of them that said they don't listen to Radio Biafra, those that called us miscreants, those that called us touts, now they depend on the lectures that we deliver. They depend on the tutorial that we offer. They depend on the address we give them to formulate their reasoning, to be able to articulate their thoughts properly. Because we are blessed in every way. I am not a lawyer. I am not an expert in any jurisprudence. But when I sit down here, anytime I call upon the grace of heaven, Chukwokika Biama always puts his words in my mouth that his gospel may be preached to the children of men. That is why we are here. It has been raging on all fronts. We must get our facts right this very evening. It is not disputable that on the 11th of February 1961, a plebiscite was held in the British Cameroons to determine which part of that very territory will remain with Nigeria or will go to the Cameroons. A lot of Fulani people in the northeast of present-day Nigeria, of which Atiku Abubakar and his family is part of, decided to vote to remain or be part of Nigeria. Those in the south, especially our Amazonian brethren, they decided to be part of Cameroon. On the 1st of October of 1961, this is not in doubt, Southern Cameroon, our people in Ambazonia, became officially a part of Cameroon. The present day Adamawa state that you're looking at was part of former Cameroon. I am taking this lecture this evening sequentially that the world may understand. There's a lot of confusion. People don't go to school in the zoo. Their brains are blocked. They don't reason properly. They don't reason properly. That is the problem with Nigeria. People don't reason. They are not analytical. They are not critical. They are not discerning. They are not investigative. They don't do any of those. But here we bring back their senses to normal. We want to build a case this very evening that the world may understand. We want to slowly and gradually set out what is playing out in the tribunal, where a Sudanese man, Jubil al-Sudani, imported by Abakari, came to the zoo called Nigeria. People that claim they are PhD holders stupidly and gullibly swallowed the junk fed to them by Tinubu's newspapers. That this is Buhari. They are in a tribunal. But we are here to explain the laws of the zoo. I am here to educate Binta Nyako, the entire NJC, the entire bench in Nigeria as to what the law says about Atiku Abubakar that they don't know. I will tell them. And I derive everything that I say this evening from their own constitution. The problem you have in Nigeria is that people are lazy, mentally lazy. Fulani way of life, mentally lazy, they don't reason very well. INEC is the root cause of this very problem. INEC is the problem. And I will prove to you why. Both INEC, your so-called useless National Assembly, useless to the core, who did not have the courage to amend the Constitution. They put Atiku Abubakar in this mess. Not Atiku Abubakar, no. They put him in this mess. Some of you don't know that those of us born in Biafra between 67 and 70, do you know that none of you can contest for the presidency of Nigeria? But we'll get to that later. And I'll prove it to you with facts and figures using the zoo constitution. So I strongly suggest that as you get your pen and paper this evening, you also get a copy or make reference to a copy of the Constitution because it is there. I will be referencing it this very evening as we proceed because the grammar is very simple. The English is pedestrian, very, very mundane. It's not difficult, it's not convoluted, it is not complex. Very plain, simple English. And then you will see why the zoo will implode before our eyes. Because if Atiku doesn't pursue the fact that Jubril is from Sudan, others will. I said I would destroy Nigeria with the truth. They thought it was a joke. Oh, leave him. He's looking for fame. He wants to be famous. He's an opportunist. An opportunist is now educating the entire judiciary in Nigeria. The so-called senior advocates will listen to Radio Biafra, lift everything I say here to go and depose before a judge in a court of law. And I had at school. And I didn't even read law, for information. I read political economics. For your information, I did not read law. Imagine if I had read law. My goodness. We must proceed. The Adamawa region we're looking at today, from which the carved Adamawa state was part of Cameroon before, that is the truth. You know the Lamido of Adamawa? You know the area, the Lamido, you know all the Adamawa people. They have relatives in Cameroon today answering Adamawa. Write all these things down on a piece of paper and follow it sequentially. Not when you come to social media. No, I think he was the president, vice president for 8 years because of that. You are arguing like a blind person, an untutored soul. Here we will educate you. I'm learned. Why won't I be proud? I am learned. Now you see why they cannot debate me. You see when I tell you they cannot last with me in a debate. Some of you think I'm joking. You can understand why. Because they don't know their own laws. They don't. Secession is a crime. A judge in a court of law asking for Biafra. You are carrying Biafra flag. Because of that, you're seceding. It's a crime. Treasonable felony. A judge in a court of law. A judge. Learned illiterates. There, all of them. Atiku's hometown is Jada. In Ghana, or whatever they call it. And as some people wrote, is the headquarters of the British Cameroons. But some of you stupidly and mistakenly is not arguing the right things you should argue. I am trying to educate the lawyers of Atiku what they should say in the tribunal. I want to educate the lawyers of Atiku because they don't know what to say. I will educate them tonight. You don't go to argue that the man was Nigeria's vice president who has lived and paid the tax. He was a controller of customs and rubbish. The Constitution of Nigeria says you have to be Nigerian by birth. Stop arguing like, I don't want to insult wheelbarrow pushers because they are very, very intelligent. Don't debate like a fool. Argue intelligently. And I will give you free advice, free legal advice on air tonight. How to tackle this very issue. Because some of the lawyers they are using are completely hopeless and useless. Never go to the tribunal to argue that he was VP for 8 years. He was controller of customs. That is not the issue. The Constitution says by birth. Go back to it. And win the case from there. Not coming to argue he was a VP for 8 years. The Constitution says if you want to be the president, not vice, if you want to be the president of Nigeria, you must be born inside Nigeria. Of Nigerian parentage by birth. A Nigerian. Go back there. That is where the key lies. To claim Atiku's stolen mandate. Not in the rubbish you're arguing. But I will tell you that later on, how you're going to do it and win this very simple case. But let us continue. Because evening we are going to do people. I want everybody to turn to section 131 of the Constitution of the damnable Zoological Republic. See, some of you have it in chapters. Go to chapter 6. VI is 6 up here. V is 5, is it? V is 5, VI is 6. How come I can't do it? It is written the executive. Part 1 says federal executive. And the A of it says the president of the federation. I am reading the Zoo Constitution. It says here, there shall be for the president for the federation, there shall be for the federation a president. The president shall be the head of state, the chief executive. I'm reading from the Constitution of Nigeria, please. Not what I made up. The president shall be the head of state, the chief executive of the federation, and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the federation. Now listen carefully. Section 131 says, a person shall be qualified, listen carefully, is English language. Once they use the word qualified, it means you must, M-U-S-T, you must have this before you are considered to even run for the office of the president. Understand this way. Simply qualified, that's what it means. It didn't say you have to be customs controller for 8 years. You have to be VP for 100 years. No, rubbish. For you to qualify to vie for the office of the president or to be eligible to serve as the head of state of the zoo. Listen carefully to A, section 131A, Constitution of Nigeria. It says, he is a citizen of Nigeria by birth. By birth. Citizen of Nigeria by birth. At the time that the mother is giving birth to this man or woman that wants to be the president of Nigeria, you have to be a Nigerian citizen. Very simple and short, open and short case. It never said you have to be controller of customs for 50 years, paying your taxes, vice president for 99 years. Bunkum. It says here, a citizen of Nigeria by birth. Simple English. He has attained the age of 40 years and is a member of a political party. He's been educated to school certificate level, which Buhari never had, and Jubilee doesn't have. We'll get to that later. Because the lawyers representing Atiku don't know what they're doing, honestly speaking. You can get to truncate Jubilee is in the Constitution, section 131D. Very simple. 131D. He has to be educated to at least school certificate level or its equivalent. Buhari never had it. Rather than running around saying, oh, he went to moms, he went to all the shop, he went to this place, that rubbish. It says you must have school certificate. Where is it? And they go and forge one nonsense and bring. And Tinubu's Nation newspaper and Yoruba papers, they will take money from every writing. Oh, don't ask him. He has a certificate. And let me tell Atiku's team of lawyers what to do this night. I want you to subpoena the head of WAEC under oath. Let him come and testify that the result of the president is that of the late Buhari, and you win your case hands down. If they kill the man or woman tonight, you go and subpoena the deputy. If they go and forge any result on any paper, believe you me, there is a test you can do on any paper, carbon dating, that tells you the date the paper was manufactured. So they cannot rig it. Listen carefully, please. If you are representing Atiku, or you are one of those that support him, this is how you win your case. Very simple. Don't go to this tribunal arguing like a baby. Simply say to them, Buhari, in whose name Jubril contested, doesn't have a school certificate. If they argue and bring one useless paper, simply subpoena under the force of law, compel the head of WAEC to come to the tribunal to testify under oath. Oath means if he or she lies, they will go to prison. For free, it's for free. I'm not going to charge anybody for it. We are IPOB. We love everybody. We only hate darkness and iniquity. Subpoena WAEC chief to come to the tribunal to testify under oath. Once they do that, it's game over. But INEC went to this tribunal to say, we are satisfied with Buhari's WAEC result. INEC, you are not WAEC. With all due respect, you are not WAEC. So you cannot certify anything. Let us call WAEC. They are not dead. Let them come and testify. And I'm going to go. Oh, IPOB, they are miscreants. Don't follow Nnamdi Kanu. He doesn't know. I told you so. We are more learned than all of you put together. I swear to heaven. I want you to know. Only if you know what we know. If we have Biafra within 2 years, there will be reverse migration. You will be begging to come. You will beg. You will crawl under the wall. It's not. Will not be like Trump saying we will build wall. We will build our own. both electric fence, police dog. You can't come in. Children of darkness. We continue. This is contained on page 50 of your constitution. What I've just told you. This thing has been here for many years. And the dead Buhari was contesting election after election, no certificate. Nobody dared to say, this is what INEC, this is the constitution is the highest law in the land. I said highest. There is nothing Supreme Court can do about it. All they can do is to interpret. They cannot change it. It will take an act of parliament for the National Assembly by 2/3 majority in both houses to vote, I believe, to amend the constitution. As long as it has not been amended, and as long as there is no certificate for Jubril, for the dead Buhari, he cannot be sworn into office. That is what the law of the land says. This section of the Nigerian constitution is clearly defective. And I will tell you why. About this, you have to be born in Nigeria. Very defective. And I want to prove to you this evening that when I say they do copy and paste, some of you don't understand. The law, do you know why they don't know laws in Nigeria? Because all they do is they hear one sweet law in England, they copy and they paste. They go to America, they copy and they paste. They don't ask themselves, do we have the ability to be disciplined enough to adhere to these rules and laws that we're putting down on paper? This section of the Zoo Constitution here, section 30, it is 131, isn't it? Section 131 of the Nigerian Constitution, 131, bracket A. He is a citizen of Nigeria by birth. You must be, it's wrong, fundamentally flawed. They did not take into account that there is no country called Nigeria, that Nigeria was just a simple company, limited liability company. Royal Niger company, which they converted into a country. As Awolowo famously said, it's a contraption, a mere geographical expression. It doesn't mean anything. But they were afraid that if they don't put it in here, somehow people will know that Nigeria doesn't exist. It's fraud. It's a fake. It's a British colonial disaster. Do you know what they did? Those that Abdul Salami Abubakar asked to go and write the constitution, you know what they did? They simply ran to, you know, US is beautiful. If you go there to New York, or high-rise building, you know, they collect, you know, Jerican, that's what they used to go and collect fizzy drink, Coke. That small Coke you drink, 30 cl. If you go to a Burger King, or they put in your bucket, you Jerican. Drink as much as you like. So when they go there to stockpile all the looted funds they have stolen from the people, from the national treasury, they see it and they think, oh, maybe if we copy and paste their laws without the discipline that should go with it, maybe when I wake up in the morning, I'll see skyscrapers outside. They don't know the world doesn't function that way. This part of the constitution is clearly defective because Abdul Salami Abubakar is a military man, not a constitutional expert, not a politician, and not a philosopher. You don't know, before you can write constitution, you have to be a philosopher. You have to think about the people, what they want, how best to get the best out of them. When we say it in our local adage, people don't know what it means. You write your constitution to suit your circumstances, to bring out the best in your people. That is why China can run a communist system as a political system, but run free market economy. China were the first people to try it. They said, no, we are not going to dabble into democracy yet, but we want all the trappings, all the good life that free market economy can bring. That is why China is an anomaly. When we're going to school, we are told that socialism and capitalism is a dichotomy. They can never. These are two parallel lines of thought. They can never merge together. China said no. In America, democracy can work for you, but here in China, please, it won't work but we will allow free market economy. Now you understand what it means. But in the zoo, Abdul Salami Abubakar was busy stealing money. That man is a rogue. Stealing money, looting cash. As they were scrambling, this same Tinubu that ran away from Nigeria. All of them in Nigeria ran away. All of them ran away from Nigeria. No, they didn't come for the arrest, or they just disappeared. Through Kotonu. They said, don't worry, give us any constitution you like. They merely